Hello and welcome to Dee Dee Blooms. This video is going to focus on a portion of care for my orchids that I'm growing indoors. And what I'm going to show you is how I water. And I'm also going to include fertilizing. So I've had a few subscribers ask how I water, and I've mentioned it in other videos and given little snippets, but I'll actually take you along a little bit here to step by step show you the very simple technique I use. And again, this is how I water. I'm not saying anyone has to do it this way. There are risks to the way I water, and I'll explain that shortly. But I am in my back grow room, and before we get started with the watering, I thought I'd quick show you what's in bloom back here. So we've got my Phalaenopsis equestris coerulea. Let me just set that down. Finally opened up. I've been waiting years for this to bloom. The mother plant died and it grew a keiki, and this keiki has since matured and now bloomed for me, and two of the blooms are open. So pretty. And I've got the equestris, Phal equestris B100. Not sure what the difference is from just Phal equestris, but that's what this one is. Still in bloom for over a year and a half. It has been in bloom every day for a year and 7 months, approximately. Might be 6 months. And then here is my Phalaenopsis salimensis, opening up her beautiful blooms. I think possibly in my last grow room video only one bloom was open, or it was just the flower spike. And one of the things I love about this one is the white buds and little bud stems. Look how white it is compared to the flower spike. I still have a flower spike here on my Pulcherrima variety Marmorata. Oh, let's see. I don't think there's much else going on. There's other flower spikes, but they're just not doing much. So then over here, still in bloom and with more flowers open, is this beautiful species Oncidium hastilabium. Has a very light scent, lightly sweet. I've got a nice flower spike developing here for my Bnfd Gilded Tower Mystic Maze. This one is a reliable bloomer. I just recently repotted it as well, and it's not missing a beat. I've got a number of flower spikes on my twinkles, my pink Profusion. My Oro is starting up some spikes. And my Tsiku Marguerite is in full spike mode. Very tall spikes so far. Been working on them for a number of weeks. Nothing's going on down there. Then we'll just swing back up here, back to Oncidiums. And that beautiful coerulea, lava zone coerulea. Right before my Hawaii trip, I posted a video of this. Is still in full bloom. I'm back from Hawaii. Had a great time with my husband. Looks darker, doesn't it? It's getting closer to looking like the picture. I also have a flower spike here of my Pacific Paranoia. Starting from there and going up to here. That one is very fragrant. I can't wait. My Oncidium Rex's Luck is also in spike. And let me tell you guys something. This one's very interesting. So the spike got caught. If you have Oncidiums, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes the spikes get caught. And I don't know if that means it's a watering issue or what, but the spike got caught down in the juncture of the leaf that it developed from. And when I saw it, I freed it, but it had already mostly snapped the spike off. And it was only connected by just a little bit of tissue. And so what I did, just to support it and just to see what would happen, normally I would just cut it off and be sad that I wasn't going to get flowers. I actually put a piece of tape at the juncture to help support it. And I will never cut them again, because look at this. It has continued to grow and grow and grow. I'm going to get a full bloom show, even though that spike is hanging on by just a little bit of corner tissue. That is just amazing to me. And still in bloom, going on months and months and months. This fall, I think it'll be a year that I've had this, and it's been almost in nonstop bloom, and it's fragrant. It's this Pacific Paragon honey butter, and I'm sorry, I forget what OIP is. I can look that up and try to put that on the screen. So if you like in bloom almost all the time, go for this one for sure. And this coerulea one, or lava zone, appears to bloom often too. Let's see, coming down here, nothing much going on, but I do have a flower spike that goes down to the next shelf. It's one of my Oncidiums that the spike just got too long. Look how this keeps going. And this is my Parquet Uptown girl, Odontocidium. I have some blooms there. I have my Phal Pulcherrima variety laotica in spike. This will be the second time it's bloomed for me. I'm just loving these little Pulcherrimas. And I think that's all. I don't see any other spikes. Could be missing stuff, but otherwise lots of still new growths. I'm sure I bet you there's more spikes in the Oncidiums that I just haven't figured out yet. Coming over here, nothing much going on. I really am hoping that this one, which is, where's my tag? I know it's Antinatum crossed with Striaotes. You know, the samurai, it's Dendrobium samurai, I think it's called. Really hoping soon. It's got this really strong growth here. It's got other newer growths that's maturing. Really hoping I can get it to bloom within the next year. Yeah, I'm not seeing any spikes. My Stenoglottis Venus, which started growing late in the season, is still growing. No spike yet. The next shelf is the majority of my falcatas, my Neofinetia or Vanda falcatas, and this is crossed with Phalaenopsis stobartiana, and it is in full spike. It's one of my most fragrant, reliable blooming ones, and it's very, very compact. You can see the thicker leaves compared to the other traditional type of falcatas. Down here, we've got nothing going on with the Phragmipediums, and I got another Neofinetia type. That's my Via Virgil, which I featured in bloom on the last video. Just new growths going on. Let's see. And we'll swing back up here. I've got in the background my Renantheras are pretty quiet right now, just growing newer leaves. And then a first time bloomer, and boom, beautiful show, is this Potinara. pull this out. Potinara DiCiommo's Rainbow crossed with BLC Momelani Rainbow. And I got this, I believe, yeah, Brookside Orchids. I've had this one at least, yeah, over 2 years. First repot was in, looks like March of 2023, so I think I probably got it late 2022. And I've got 3 beautiful blooms. The third one is behind here. I don't want to knock anything over. Let's take this down. It's a little heavy because I have it in self-watering, and it's been really liking the self-watering. And it's very fragrant. It's so nice. Lip is gorgeous. Just a sweet kind of honey fragrance. So yay, I brought a young plant to bloom. I feel so accomplished. It's one of the things I love about this hobby is when you get things to bloom, it just makes you feel so good. And then I have one of my den phals in bloom. This is two-tone Zane. And it's been working on this flower spike. This is the very first time this one has bloomed for me. I have commented about my Dendrobium phalaenopsis, or den phals, as known. And I've only had one of my seedling ones that I've had for over 4 years to bloom for the first time. And that was a peach one. It was actually this one here, I believe. So I featured that one if you want to go look at my Dendrobiums. This is Touch of Peach. So it finally grew big enough and it spiked and bloomed for me. And now this is the second one out of about half a dozen that I have that I've been growing for quite some time. And two-tone Zane. Very pretty. And then down here, there's not too much going on except these beautiful cluster of blooms. Absolutely in love with them. This is a newer acquisition. I don't feel I can take too much credit, maybe a little partial credit, that I cared for it long enough for it to spike, because it wasn't in spike when I got it. It was in very small sheath coming up. And this one is called GCT Selsal's Little Jewel. And it's a cross between Intermedia Alba Aquinii Genesio with Catleotonia Why Not Red. And I love these type of peachy tone with yellow colors. And she is fragrant. And I love how she clusters. You can see all those little buds that developed. She was in full bud when I went to Hawaii. And now I came back a week later. And she is amazing. I love her. And down here, lots of growth. There's some sheaths, but I don't think they're going to be active. But what did finally rebloom for me, I bought this one in bloom 2 years ago from Norman's Orchids. I went to his open house, and the blooms are starting to get brown, so I think they're going to start going over. But this is a common one, or a well-known one. Gulfshore's Beauty, Green Gem, which is nodosa, Brassavola nodosa crossed with Cattleya dormaniana. And this one gave me 2 beautiful blooms. So I don't know if the lighting is causing the green to brown, but the original opening of the flowers, they were solid green. I'll try to put in a picture, dig up the pictures I took when it first opened. Beautiful fuchsia, purple lip. Let's see. I don't smell anything. Might be a nighttime smeller. I don't remember, honestly. It's been so long since I got her originally. And I don't remember a fragrance when it bloomed before. And then I still have my Phragmipedium Eric Young blooming. It's working on its next bud. The last flower fell off. It's a sequential bloomer. and it's already bloomed 3 times, so it's working on its 4th bloom. And my Psychopsis Mendenhall Hildos, it currently has its current flower open in its full glory, and you can see the next bud. Let's see if I can angle the camera. The next bud is already being formed. Hard to see from this angle and the glare of the light. This one's been in bud bloom for over a year now. The flower spikes continuously bloom. They can do that for many years. Some won't last as long. I think it just depends. I repotted this recently and showed the repotting in a video. Broke off a new flower spike, a second flower spike, and now I have this new growth starting up. I'm hoping I'll get another flower spike here sometime soon. Let's see, what's this stuff? I don't know if that's just dried sap. It doesn't look like mealybugs. Just checking on that. And then we've got Catleotonia, why not red? Which again is part of this one. It's the cross in this one. So you can see the similarity in the cluster of the blooms. And I found this one to be rather finicky. It bloomed for me once before, and then it skipped last year, and now it's blooming again. It's adorable. I love it. Let's see, is she fragrant right now? I don't smell anything. And another tried and true is my Prosthecia cochleata. Little squid flowers. And I'm so upset with myself. I moved this and I snapped the end of the flower spike. Do you guys see? I snapped it off. It had like 3 more buds it was developing, and I snapped it off. I was so sad. But hopefully the new growth, it's got a beautiful sheath. I'm gonna try to come around here. The new growth has a beautiful new sheath. So hopefully I'll get a new flower spike and get a whole bunch more blooms. Accidents happen. And then coming around here, and we're gonna get to the watering. I'm sure you're like, hey, I wanted to watch this to see the watering. And it's gonna be quick when I do it, because otherwise you'll be bored. Nothing's really going on up here, except I have 2 spikes on one of my falcata types. It's more of a complex hybrid, but Darwinara Charm crossed with Vanda cristata. See the 2 beautiful little nubbins sticking up there. Can't wait. Beautiful dark purple, very fragrant flowers. And then I have my blue twinkle here, Dendrobium blue twinkle, which is spiking for the very first time. I've been growing this in self-watering. It's done okay, not the greatest, honestly. So I think when I repot it next, it's not gonna go on that, but I have my very first spike. It's really been getting attacked by possible thrips or spider mites. I don't know if you could see. The grow lights make it hard to give an idea of the damage, but the leaves are pretty damaged. So I'm really excited to have a bloom spike, and I moved it out of the location it was at. It was in that back corner for a long time since I set up this grow room, and it just seems to be a magnet for bugs or what I think are possibly spider mites or thrips attacking that. So now I'm gonna see how the Renantheras do in that back corner. I think they're more stronger to fight off any infection. So that's what's going on in the grow room. And so now we get to the education part, which is the watering. So what I do when I water and fertilize, and I don't fertilize every week. I try to fertilize often. I like to do the weekly. There are weeks where I can't do weekly, so, but for the most part, I try to fertilize every week for like 3 weeks, and then 1 week, no fertilizer, especially in the summertime. In the winter, I pull back, and either I'm fertilizing once a month or every, 4 to 5 weeks. And it depends on the plant. some of the orchids continue to grow in the winter. So of course I'll continue to fertilize as plants grow. So you also have to look at what the plant is doing. And I'm sorry for the view of kitty litter boxes, but that's the reality of my work in this back room. So this is my watering bucket, and I have a scoop, and this I'll use this as my fertilizer bucket. And what I do is I take my rainwater jugs, which I'm currently out of rainwater, to be honest. So this is actually tap water that I leave uncapped, usually sitting under my breakfast bar in my kitchen for at least a few days to let the chlorine dissipate out of the tap water, and before I put in my fertilizer. And guess what I forgot to grab to bring in here? The fertilizer. So I will be right back. And I'm back. Okay, so I'm not sponsored by anybody. My channel is not monetized. I don't expect to ever be. I work full time. This is just a passion of mine and a hobby. So I'm not sponsoring or recommending anything, but I just use Better Grow. And it seems to do fine for me, and it's water soluble. And so I carefully just try to, again, do it weekly. So let's look at this again. 1 gallon of water. Add 1 teaspoon per 1 gallon of water. So 1 teaspoon in the scoop that comes with it is the inner, I don't know if you can see this, inner lined circle there. Can you kind of see teaspoon, that inner line? So I try to do half of that, if not even a little less. So you see, like, this is close to the teaspoon. So I'm going to try to tap out I don't know if you could see the line. It's not I don't do it like per granule or anything. I just do it by sight. So hopefully that makes sense. And then you can see enough to just get the gist of it. Tap it into my water jug. Move that out of the way. And then put my cap on. And I'm all about recycling. So I reuse my milk jugs until they pop a hole. Sometimes they just get really old, or if they get kicked around or stumbled on by accident, they'll get a hole in them. So just shake that up as best I can. And I will pour it into the tub here. And it's such a weak solution, you can't even really tell if there's blue in it. Because, you know, when you do the full teaspoon, you have what I call blue water. But I think you can see it's slightly blue tinged from the light reflection. Oops, dropping things. So there is my fertilizer water. And then my regular water, I just get another jug. Just the plain water. And so basically, where do I want to start today? I think I'm going to start with the most needy plants, and that's a lot of times are my Dendrobiums and the ones that are in like these baskets. So I'll just do a little hodgepodge here. So let's take one that's kind of pseudo-mounted. It's just in this open air basket. It seems to love it pretty well. This is like a French fry serving basket. So I plop this in and start putting in some water. I try to make sure it doesn't get fully submerged. If some of its bark comes out, I will flow it back in. Just grab the little barks and it could go back in here. Oops, I don't even know if you saw that. Now it's really starting to sink. So I can get some more of the barks back in. I let it drain. And when I'm fertilizing, I don't leave it, I try not to leave it too long in the water. Let's see if I can do this. What do you think? Right now, I know you can't see much, but I'm just getting the bark and I'm putting it back into the basket. Okay. Sorry for the lack of sight. I am not a professional at photography and filming. Okay, I'll let that drip out. Actually, in some ways I let this soak a little too much because I really want the fertilizer water to soak up in. So with this one in particular, I'm just gonna let it hover up on the top. I'm not gonna let it sink. And hopefully that moss still has some, because there's moss in there with the bark, has some soaking up capability so that the fertilizer will be present as the plant soaks up its water needs. And once again, it's not like a lengthy process or anything. And I'll let it drip dry. Sorry, I'm gonna put you down again. Grab that little piece of bark. Get it back in its basket. If I'm in a hurry, sometimes I don't get the little pieces of bark. Oh, nice and moist. It's got some food. And I'm coming up, I do slow release fertilizer pellets as well in my orchids, and I replenish every 6 months. So this is supplemental. And if I skip a week or two, and I've been known to skip a month, it just depends. If I've been sick and I don't have the energy and I just got a quick water, I will actually skip quite a length of time, but I don't feel so bad because I replenish slow release fertilizer pellets every 6 months. So I'm coming up on that time period. My surgery is in October, so I'll make sure to do that before my surgery, have that all done. Not doing that today, so just a quick drench, drain, and I want to get it into this fertilizer water. This is mostly just moss, so I don't have as much things floating off of it. Just little pieces of moss. And I'll drain. This is actually an orchid that is still on a cork mount that I affixed to this French fry tray. So I was not keeping up on its watering. There's that. And then let's do some little self-watering pots. Let's see. I'll put you on a garbage can here. I know. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. My house is not perfectly clean, so forgive me. Okay, so put this here. Right now the water's shallow enough. I could probably put a lot more. So we'll just get some, make sure to get some moisture throughout here. And then I'm gonna pick this up. The reservoir is already drained. I filled this up 7 days ago, a week ago, and it drank all that up. Thirsty, thirsty. I'm just gonna let that sit in there. And now I'm gonna get another jug of water. fill up that reservoir, or I could just scoop from here. But one of the things I want to caution you guys, because what I don't want is to make people upset. I want to disclose the risks of how I water. I wonder if any of you know what those risks are. Tell me if you've done this and you've had bad experiences. But the risk is, if you have a virused plant, I am sharing all this water with all of my plants. And I do this in each of my grow areas. So I only have, the only segment or separation I have is between grow areas. I have separate buckets for over in my front room, and I have separate buckets over in my family room under the TV where we watch movies. I've shown bloom videos from there. And of course I water totally differently outside. All my orchids outside are watered with the hose. And then I walk around with a sprayer to fertilize. Or I fill up with the big cymbidiums, I fill up fertilizer water and I walk over and I pour a quarter of the jug into a big cymbidium, another quarter of a jug in another big cymbidium, etc. Let's see. I think what I want to do is show you some. Let's do this one, which is not in self-watering, so it dries out a lot faster. So pretty. I just take the water and I'll just do some quick little scoops. Again, I am fertilizing, so I'm not, if I wasn't fertilizing, I'd probably do like 5 rounds of scooping water. I didn't have it in view. Probably do 5 rounds instead of just the one. But my primary goal is just to wet the media and then really give it a good drink from the fertilizer water. So to repeat, when I'm not fertilizing, I do this extra scoops in just the regular water to give it a good drink. And I have fans going. I have a fan right in front of me. I have a fan and they're both on high. And they are blasting air all over this room. So this dries out really well. So keep that in mind if you're growing indoors and you want to try my technique. My watering method might make your media too wet for too long. And I don't want that to happen. So if you don't have fans to dry out your orchids, you might not want to soak or give as many splashes of water as I'm doing, okay? I want you all to be successful if you are taking pointers from me. Here's one of my other ones. This one dries out like nothing. This self-watering doesn't have very much of a reservoir, but it's super cute. It's got the little owl face. The eyeballs point down when it's out of water. And yep, it's empty. Just a little round, little flush. And yes, I have a lot of orchids. Yes, me taking each one individually takes time. I am fine with that. So also it depends on your lifestyle. If you're really active, this might take too long for you. Like if you have kids and a lot of activities for your kids that you have to run around on the weekends or in the evenings of your work week, this 1-to-1 might not work for you. When I'm just watering, it does go quicker because I can put in like several plants. Quick swish, 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 and I'll get a few done. But when I'm fertilizing, I really do like to try to take the time, inspect the plants, take off any dead leaves, do that little, oops, here's one, a house cleaning. Oops, splashing everywhere. Let's check out the Masdevallia. I repotted that before I left. I don't think some of it is very happy. That doesn't look very good. But let's take, whoops, one of the Phals here. And I think that'll be it, guys. Hopefully you get the gist. Again, there's risks to this method. I like it. It works for me. I like to spend time with each one of my orchids. Yeah, I'll let you guys decide your environment. Oh, dead leaf just fell off. So it's quick swishes there. Really look at your plants too. Like if you're in doubt that one of your orchids might be virused, like it's not thriving, it has a lot of pitting, it's not doing the greatest. You know what? I have a good example here. This one right here. Got this from Brookside Orchids, and this is a rare occasion where a Brookside orchid is not thriving. And I forget what RBY is. I'll try to look it up and put it up on the screen. But it's basically Brassavola cucullata crossed with RLC Bryce Canyon. I don't understand the RBY. Anyway, hopefully I'm putting it up on the screen. This one came beautiful, beautiful leaves, and every single growth loses the leaves. I have 2 new growths now. I've repotted it twice, and it's time, excuse me, excuse me, I had to cough. This time I repotted it higher up. So you see those 2 growths on either side? That is the hope for the future. This one I water separate. I do not water it in my communal tubs. So there are some that if they're not doing well, especially if they're newer to my collection, this one I've had under a year, so it's failed to thrive. I've had it longer than 6 months though, for sure. I think it's coming up on a year. So I have, I watered it communally in the beginning because it looked healthy and good. And I've had no ill effects in my collection. I've not had mass die-offs. I've not had mass signs of disease. Maybe I just got lucky. But since it's shown that there's possibly something wrong with it, I do separate that one out. Yeah. Compared to Laelia sanguiloba I got like a year ago, that I know isn't diseased. It's just never grown. It's never grown a new growth. It was a bag baby from Equestris, and all its roots were dead. They were rotted in the little baggie, and it's just never grown a new growth since I got it. And so I water this communally, but I know the background. I know why it looks like this. It's not diseased. It's just been struggling to try to grow new roots, and I doubt it's going to make it. So those are the type of judgments that I make as far as the communal watering. So I do make some calls as to something that could potentially be virused. But overall, again, I've had success. But I just want to be clear. It's a risk you take doing it the way I'm doing. Whoops. My hand hit the edge of the shelf. Oh, and be careful if you have these shelves. If you have wet leaves and they drip down into the crowns of your others, I have rotted orchids that way. Yeah. Okay, guys. I think I've covered everything. If you have more questions, let me know. I I can't think of any other pointers as to how I water. And this is a very long video. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you enjoyed the content, please give the video a thumbs up. That's a communication to me that this is helpful or interesting. Let me know if you have any questions. Put them in the comments. I love to have discussions about orchids. I love to talk about orchids and share tips, share your experience. I'm open to feedback if anybody has any other suggestions. Thanks again, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you in the next video.